This is going to be going over last night's analysis and today's AM trade for today being February 4th, Wednesday. So last night, this is what I was looking at, where price was at. And we can see here that um, we had closed here on Monday really strong on uh, YM. And after watching GXT's video, um, and realizing and what he's saying is, NQ and ES are never the leading or lagging asset. It's always going to be NQ or YM, and ES is always like the middle asset. So that's something I wanted to practice this week. So we clearly had this up close candle here that was closed above this OB, and so that was the change in the state of delivery for higher. Same thing here. We had this bullish closure here, but it did not close above. But I was really looking at YM for the close above here, and this validation of this OB inside of this daily OB, which you can, if you remember from any of my other videos I've been recording, NQ is digging into this daily OB. Same thing with ES, but that was being supported by what? By this weekly OB. We had a daily OB sitting inside a weekly OB. So even though we had a break in structure here in a CSD for lower, because I was watching YM as the leading asset, I believe that we were just coming back into a deeper retracement in order for YM to then expand. So that's what I was kind of looking at going into today, but I wasn't really sure because we've had such aggressive price action over the past 2 days. I wasn't really sure what to expect today. So let's drop down and then I can get into uh, what I was looking at going into this morning. So last night, let's just watching here. We had the daily open. This is where I ended up charting. I think, let me just double check. Oh, it's too far there. Okay, so this is where we're at coming into market open on all three assets, and I'll switch over in a minute and show you. So what so for me, even though this candle on the daily open was an open low, this is an open high situation for me. I was anticipating some sort of retracement back to EQ before potentially flushing, unless YM was going to manipulate lower first to then expand to these highs, right? Previous day high. So I really was watching YM this morning, and then as well as NQ. So let's drop down now to the 50, or we can go to the 1 hour. Sorry. Okay, and this is what I was paying attention to, right? Just right back to GXT, change in state of delivery prior to driver, right? Driver continuation or expansion. So if we go to the 15-minute here on all assets, okay, let's go here. All right, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Get it? There we go. Pause. 7:15. Okay, so this is what I was looking at, right? On the hourly coming into the morning, this is still 6 a.m. But we do not have a change in state of delivery for lower yet. We did back here, right? But currently with price, no CSD yet. On the hourly, same thing, right? So I'm watching here, right? Because you can see ES, we've built a bullish OB closed above, rebalancing for expansion potentially, right? But if YM's leading, I want to see, I'm looking for a closure below. And so watch at 8 o'clock, right? We do get that on the hourly. We get a CSD for lower. Okay. So let's just put that in. It's also an OB CSD, so I'll just leave it there. Okay. So now we can go to the 15-minute and watch for market open here. Okay, and this is important. I want to show this here to it. pause it. I did. Boom. Okay. So this is what I was saying, right? We got the CSD here at 8 a.m. on NQ, right? But and you can see here that also we get it here. Okay. So if this is the leading asset, I now know that 9 o'clock, if we're on the hourly, 9 o'clock just needs to rebalance, right? That's all we're looking for. So let's go here to the 15. Go here, go to the 1 minute. So we can speed this up here. Okay, consolidation, manipulation to the highs, right? So now we're at what, 845. Okay. YM's stacking on top of Asia with London. Here's 9 o'clock, right? We already have the change in state of delivery. Okay, so now we're just waiting for 30. For market open, you can see YM is digging in down there to rebalance. Okay, so 9 o'clock open low. Right, and let's see. I'll try to play it out fully. You can see that we have major SMT, right? NQ and YM SMT at the lows here. Okay. So this is 9:15. Speed it up a little bit, sorry. And then this is where I'm watching, right? 9:30, right? We already have the change in state of delivery for higher. Okay. So really I'm looking for a rebalance. Back to what? Back to the CSD, which is this red line. Okay. And I'm watching for clear manipulation on YM, right? Because if YM already has a CSD for lower and so does NQ, right? Then if YM manipulates at 9:30 open high, right, manipulates that, and we get SMT, then I know I can look for shorts to previous day low. But for me, I've been practicing the key levels, areas of interest within discount of the range, etc. So that's what I'm watching, right? We can see that YM is already back inside, rebalancing to this OB, right? CSD of 8 a.m. Okay, so we play this through for 9:30. Okay, and here's 9:30. Okay, you can see 9:30. Let's go here to the one. Complete, right? Opposite. Okay. YM ends up running up, NQ ends up dumping. Okay, but this, unless you're just planning on triggering at daily open, that's not, there's no entry there. Okay. So what we want to end up looking for is the correct entry and the correct model, right? And so we need to end up waiting. Okay. 30 can trap us. So we want to wait for the next 15-minute window, which is going to be 45. Okay. And then this is where things get good, right? And because this traps everybody, right? But there's really no structure here. There's no framework and there's really nothing going on. So we need to wait for 45. So we end up waiting for 45 and we can see what ends up happening, right? We begin to consolidate, right? We're rejecting 9 a.m.'s opening price, right? So that's good. Okay. We are building bullish OBs here, but that should not matter because right? If the draw is lower, right? So what I start to begin to anticipate occurring here, right, is that this series of up close is going to form a, a bearish order block for lower and we'll get a CSD here, right? So I'm just waiting for 45, right? So here's 45. Okay, now this is where you can start to really learn and understand when the model's printing, how we know it's printing. Okay, and it always comes down for me to this is like we usually stop short of said key level before the next 15-minute opens, right? And then we end up tagging it. So like for me, I can consider the CSD of this OB a key level that I want validated by 9:45. So 9:45 opens, right? Initially high, but it ends up closing here, right? And we can see this gives us the CSD for lower, okay? And then price begins to expand again, right? Stop can go right here. Okay, stop goes right at the top of the OB, okay? Now, I sped it up too much. So I'd like to back this up here. Okay, because for me, oops, that's not what I want. I'm sorry. For me, I entered entered here on 51, right? Let me see here. Yep. Okay, so I entered. I didn't limit, I marked it in, but since I don't want to get a bad fill, I'll just show you. So I end up limiting in here. Okay, I end up limiting in here. Stop above, it could be this CSD or this OB, right? This is also another OB. I chose to use the higher one only because this OB and this move is, in my opinion, sitting inside of this one. So anyways, that was it. And because we had already done like with YM here, right? Previous day low right here. So I was just targeting key level like so. We can see here, boom. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. And then 10 a.m. continuation. Um, you know, I didn't end up, obviously I was off at this point. I don't know, was it continuation? I'm trying to remember the retracement. Oh no, this is where some guys got trapped in, right? Yeah. I remember this. Yeah, I was not on for this. But what I do want to get to is what happened after. Actually, let me stop the recording and then I'll start with afternoon session.